Hello there, this is Natty for Life. So yesterday, September 11th, was the day that forever will be live in the minds of all Americans and everyone around the world, really, but especially the people who were down there and experienced that tragedy. Just like yours truly. See, I used to work as a messenger for a company called Columbus. You hear that name right, Columbus, like Christopher Columbus? Columbus Messenger Service. They're still around. They're located on West 24th Street, 149 West 24th Street. So the Columbus Messenger Service used to give out routes, delivery routes for ADP paychecks. Those were payrolls. And my payroll route, the route that consisted of payrolls, started on 11 John Street. And what I the train that I used to get downtown was the number 1 train, which was right there on West 23rd Street near the delivery base, near the dispatch office. So I got on the number 1 train, headed downtown, and I usually would get off at World Trade Center, which the train stop is Cortlandt Street. Number 1 train, you have access directly into the concourse from the subway station. So that's why I used to go directly to Cortlandt Street, because you go to Cortlandt Street and, it was more expeditious. You just leave the exit, go out to the concourse, but it's the concourse of the World Trade. But I used to especially like it because I used to grab a bagel and some coffee, play some lottery numbers, and I used to do that every single morning. But that morning, they gave me too many deliveries, and had 2 mail baskets full. And I decided to switch to the express train, which takes you to Park Place. Park Place, they have an escalator. The escalator, I could use to go up to the street with that heavy baskets. So instead of going to Cortlandt Street, which I usually did every day, I got off at Park Place. And from Park Place, I walked to 11 John Street, my first delivery. So at 11 John Street, after I made my first, actually I never made it to my first delivery, because as I was walking down to 11 John Street, see, when I get off at Park Place, okay, at least in Park Place near Broadway. So from there, I walked down Broadway to John Street. I was walking down John Street, and this gentleman ran up. He just bolted running up downhill, down the block, and I wonder what was wrong with him. He seemed to be looking up at the sky, so I did the same thing. I looked up, and that's when I noticed there was like smoke and everything. So what I did was I ran down the hill, and I wanted to run down to Water Street, because Water Street's by the water, and it was more area, more space, so that I figure I can escape the smoke. If anything happened, I figured I'd just be furthest away. That'd be the quickest place to go to, where I would be furthest away from the building. That was my logic. That was my thinking. So I'm running down the hill, and all of a sudden debris starts raining on me. So instead of continue my running, I stopped at a doorway and I looked up at the World Trade Center. There was a big gaping hole. Several of the windows, big gaping hole. No fires, no nothing. All of a sudden, it was a loud cracking sound, like I say, larger than a firecracker. I would say more like a dynamite, and a fountain of sand just spewed up It's like a fountain, a nice stream of sand spouted up. A few seconds later, same thing, and exactly a few seconds after that, same thing again. Then a loud boom. All of a sudden, the windowsill was slowly on fire. It wasn't like a huge fire, small fire at first. And a few minutes later, it was a big crash, kaboom, big boom, big explosion. And that's when, even more debris started coming out of the window. And I should say that actually that's when the debris first started coming out of the window after this explosion. But anyway, now the window was on fire and there was all these debris coming out of the window. And I decided I better get the heck out of there. So I ran down to Water Street. Nobody would let me stay in any of the buildings because I didn't want to be outside. It was all that debris of fire and smoke. Nobody in the buildings, none of the security guards would let me stay in the lobby. So I ran to 120 John Street because I knew the security guard there. And I would go there often to make deliveries. I went there every day to make deliveries. So I ran down there. As soon as I got to the door, the second building comes down. It's a huge avalanche of smoke. Oh, hello. Good evening. Smoke, ashes. Really terrible. I think I'm going to get caught up in this and die. But the security guard up at 120 Wall Street opened the door. He let me in, and he locked the door. I was safe. Once inside, I tried to, I did go to a few of my deliveries in 120 Wall Street. I went to one office, and thing is about, oh, good evening. I went in the office. Thing is, the office, they had several other people in there, and they were all staying in there for safety. So I needed to call my dispatch office to tell them what's going on. So they were nice enough to let me use the phone. And after I got on the phone, I told my dispatch office at Columbus. So remember that name, Columbus, like Christopher Columbus, Columbus Messenger. Columbus Messenger, 149 West 24th Street. I call up the dispatcher at Columbus Messenger and I tell them that two of the buildings collapsed because planes hit them. And that there was, tragic situation. There was many people dying and it was very dangerous to be outside. And they told me, listen, everybody has their problems. Just go out and make your deliveries. You better not come back here with the packages. If you care about your job, go out there and make your deliveries. Never mind the smoke and never mind the buildings and the people dying. This is Columbus Messenger Service. So anyway, put down the phone. And I just stayed in that office till all the smoke cleared from the street. Then I went outside. My intention was to get on the subway, but there were no subways running in that immediate area. The only subway running was on Canal Street. It's good, maybe 2 miles walk. So I walked to Canal Street, got on the train, and I went back. Yeah, and the dispatcher's complaining, oh, what you do with the packages, blah, blah, blah. Fortunately, I was allowed to leave them in the storage room at 120 Wall Street. And also, they had suspended deliveries for 2 days after that, so I didn't get fired, but these guys, the Columbus Messengers, they didn't care at all. They were totally indifferent to the World Trade Center tragedy and the World Trade Center, you know, people dying, totally indifferent to that. But here I am, like, it's just lets you know how lucky I was that I decided and made the decision to get off at a different train stop. But also, like, you put in perspective, the rationale. I mean, listen, business is important. And, who used to say that? Somebody from the circus, the show must go on. And all that's true. But there's a time you got to stop and be human, care about your fellow person. There were a lot of good people down there in 9/11. They risked their own lives to save other people. Some were sacrificed. Many were sacrificed their life to save other people. But there were also bad people, totally indifferent to this day. They don't want to talk about it. And they could be your neighbor. I know, because I have neighbors like that. I work for people like that. And they're still working, they're still in business of abusing people, of cheating people and robbing people. All in the name of business, commercial business. And this gets me to my point. What is it that'll make America great again? It's not business. It's about being human. It's about being great human beings, having character. I think that word character is more valuable than all the money in the world. It's something that's being left in the past, and put it in its place. In its place is money and greed, commercialism, becoming a society selfish, robot-like. I don't even say humans, robot-like, just robot-like animals, not even animals. Animals are not robot-like. So anyway, that's the thing. Now we have a pandemic, and you can see the mask. People don't want to wear masks. People don't want to take vaccines. People think they're conspiracies. It's no conspiracy. The actual. Well, I say those conspiracies in the way they're thinking, the way people who don't want to wear masks and take the vaccines. There's no conspiracies in the way they're thinking. Because if you look at those same people, okay, those same idiots are the ones who blow their nose and cover their mouth, all in the name of freedom. They don't, they don't want to tell their neighbor when they're sick. They don't want to tell their fellow workers when they're sick, and so they go and contagion everybody else. These are the same type of people who claim that they're expressing their right to freedom by not wearing masks or taking the vaccine. They're full of baloney. So they don't have any character. So anyway, that's what I'm here to say. In this anniversary of 9/11, what makes America great again will be character. Something missing these days.